So what I've noticed is when I've run those pieces through the table saw, I've gone too far with one of them. So you can see here I gave myself a mark on the modelling toolpath to show where the edge of what I wanted to mould on the rotary axis lies. So it's just along that line there and down here. So you can see that there's a piece missing that I need, and that's simply because I just cut maybe 3 or 4 millimeters too much on the table saw. So I'm going to have to remake this piece and the equivalent piece here. But I mean, it doesn't look too bad. It's coming together quite well. Other than that, I mean, it's a simple thing to remake these pieces, and it's better to do this now. But you can see what I mean about the base is sitting quite nicely in there, and that is a result purely of using Blender in this process. I could not do this in Aspire, so Vectric, take note. Right, so a little bit of a rethink again. I'm going to make this better now that I have the opportunity to remake these pieces. I'm going to, instead of relying on the table saw to make these cuts, I'm just going to put a profile toolpath into Aspire to make them. Probably should have done that in the first place, but it's nice to use a variety of tools when you're making something. So the other thing I'm going to do, I'm not really all that happy about the way these spacers are going to work, because I think they're just going to end up blocking out all the light. It's not going to make much of a lampshade if the light's not going to get through. So what I've thought of, and I'll put up the Aspire drawings, I've thought of kind of, I'll just set you up on the tripod here. These pieces are kind of this shape. Okay, and then there's going to be this cutout at the bottom. It's quite a poor drawing. So I've thought of putting in blocks kind of at a clock face orientation, and now that I have the opportunity to make these again, I can put in some markers to locate these blocks. So that's a very simple task as an array in Aspire. So that will let the light diffuse out better. You know, if you have your bulb here, then the light will diffuse out through, so it won't get blocked. So we'll give that a go. So we'll set this up again, another piece of birch ply on the table, and get these toolpaths running. ahead and glued up the remaining pieces for the base component and for the rod, the trunk of the tree. So this is just 2 pieces of the birch ply offcuts glued up, and then I've cut a 54mm square section, glued it up. So these will sit, this will go on the rotary axis to form a cylinder, and this will have a 2-sided job on a spar to do the top and bottom. So I was just trying to think of ways of connecting these pieces together. So if only there was some way of connecting pieces to each other. I wonder how I could connect these. So you may have noticed something happening in that last toolpath, which was a finished toolpath. It was supposed to be finished now. So I think we're on day 4 of this build, and kind of the theme has been dreadful breakout, which you can see there, which birch ply is notorious for, and just the thing falling apart. Now I'm actually surprised that it's held together as well as it has. The glue that I'm using is very good wood glue, but I haven't given an awful lot of surface area for it to adhere to, so I'm just using these small blocks, and I've got 8 or 9 of them round the circumference, and it's actually held together quite well. But you may have noticed in that last path that the top piece here came off, so there's a bit of a band-aid around it at the minute while the glue sets. So what I need to do now is start off again. I left it halfway. I kept it running just on the rest of the piece yesterday, so I'm going to do a toolpath just for this one section at the top separately, but today I'm just going to let it run from where it left off yesterday, which was here. And I'll take this off now, I don't think I need it, and hopefully that glue has set properly. I've left it overnight, so it should have. So that's where the piece came away from the rest yesterday. There's another area on the roughing pass that a piece came off and I'll have to fix that. So I'm going to start off at the halfway point and go to the end, and then come back, do this area on its own. So I'll do that by drawing a vector and a spar just for this one area and run it as a separate toolpath. And then what I'll do is I'll run over the whole thing again, a couple of mil lower, just to take out that wee mistake where the bit dug in. So I'm gonna keep going. I haven't given up on it yet. I think it will be beautiful when it's finished, so I'm just gonna keep going, and hopefully we'll end up with something in the next day or so. just going to let this toolpath finish. I've run it slightly high because I don't want to risk losing that top piece again. So what I'll do next is I'll run the toolpath again about 2 mil lower than the original surface to deal with areas like this and some of the breakout. So I'm sure you're as sick of looking at this as I am at the minute. The next time you see it, I'll be assembling the final tree.